Picture this. A customer fills up their online cart and then poof, they vanish without checking out. If you're running an e-commerce store, this is the experience for 60 to 75% of your shoppers who start a checkout. And that's where the power of a strong abandoned cart email comes in. In this video, I'm going to break down an abandoned cart email from a brand that caught my eye because honestly, they nailed it. I'm going to show you a killer example and break down what works, what to avoid, and how to set up yours for maximum results. And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Kasey, and the reason that I know what I'm talking about here is that I run Luck & Co., an agency that's 100% focused on email and SMS marketing for 8- and 9-figure e-commerce brands. Email for e-commerce is what we do all day, every day for 5 years already. So we've seen and done it all in the email world. On this channel, I'm sharing our best tips and strategies totally free. So if that sounds good to you, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to support the channel, and stay tuned for all things email marketing. And the email that I chose to break down in this video is from this brand that's called Bloom. And I have a bunch of abandoned checkout emails in my cart, but this is the one that we're going to be looking at. And I would like to start from the start, and that is the subject line and preview text of this email. So it says, Kasey, my name, Kasey, you forgot something, and then the looking emoji. And then the preview text is start your new kindness ritual for less than $1 per cup. So let's talk about the reasons why both the subject line and the preview text are so great. First of all, there is the first name personalization. And I always say abandoned checkout flow. By the way, for all the commenters out there who are going to tell me this is not abandoned cart, this is abandoned checkout. Yes, this is abandoned checkout email technically, but I'm going to be using the terms abandoned cart and abandoned checkout interchangeably because the algorithm thinks that abandoned cart is abandoned checkout. And I gotta play by the rules sometimes. So please forgive me. I know this is not technically correct. This is not abandoned cart. This is abandoned checkout, but I'll just use those interchangeably. And so the abandoned checkout flow is one place where you have to use the first name personalization. And that is because almost, if not really exactly 100% of recipients in this flow actually gave you their first name as one of the things when they filled out that checkout form. So you actually, Klaviyo or whatever email platform you use actually has the first name for every recipient in this flow. And when you use the first name personalization, it helps both with deliverability and just establishing the trust and rapport with your recipient. And so they start right in the subject line saying, Kasey, you forgot something. And then the little look like eyes emoji is a cute way of personalizing the subject line and already immediately tells me a little bit about their voice and tone and how they talk to me. And then I really love the preview text that says, start your new kindness ritual for less than $1 per cup. I should have given you this context. They sell latte blends and then like a powder blend that you make a drink out of for your gut as well. But lattes were their hero, like original products. You know, it's a higher priced item when compared to the other drinks that you would drink, like regular tea, for example. But what they do here is they reposition that pricing and present it as less than $1 per cup. And immediately it feels and seems much more affordable. So that's why I love both subject line and the preview text. So now let's open the email. And right away, there's so many great things that they're doing in this above the fold part of the email or above the scroll. I'm still using the old school newspaper above the fold, but above the scroll part of the email, which is the most important part. And there's one thing they're not doing that great. But before we get into the actual email, I'd love to tell you about the Shopify app that is the sponsor of this video because I think you will want to give them a try. Monk enables Shopify brands to set up free gift with purchase offers that boost conversion rates and average order value. With Monk, you can create free gift discount codes that give gifts to your customers based on things like their cart value, specific products or collections in cart, their location, and many other things. Use these codes to diversify your holiday season campaigns across SMS, email, and other marketing channels. You can also use the app to generate a unique website link with the free gift code automatically applied and added as the CTA to your abandoned cart emails. Monk is currently running an offer where you can use all the features of the app for only $1 for the first month. Go to the video description and follow the link to learn more and use this amazing offer from Monk. Now let's jump back into this email and let me tell you a few things that I think that they're doing great here. The most important thing is that the call to action, the CTA, the big fat and like really in your face CTA is right here above the scroll. And that's actually kind of hard to achieve for most brands. And most brands bury that button like really under the image of the product that the person has in cart. So the fact that it's high up here and it's right here for me to click is amazing, and big props to them. And I actually was viewing this email on my bigger screen, on my bigger computer. And on that screen, even this image, actually up to here, the image of the product as well was above the, I keep saying above the fold, above the scroll. And this part of the header was also above the scroll for me there, so that was amazing. And very importantly, on my phone, the image of this mug with the product is also above the fold, above the scroll, so that's really great. Because the reason is, in abandoned checkout email, the part of the email that converts the most, that gets the person to convert the strongest, essentially the strongest piece of content in this email is that image of the product the person chose themselves and that they've added to cart and started a checkout with. Because they themselves chose this product, this is the visual that they will respond to the most. And that's why it's so important to show it as high up in the email as possible. And that is the reason we always say do not add header images to abandoned checkout emails. And this brand is not doing that, which is great because we want to get to the product as fast as possible. So no header image, that's amazing. Button above the fold, amazing. This part of the image, this part of the email, or this image above the fold, above the scroll on my phone, amazing. And then let me tell you about this little nuance that I'm seeing here. So this mug with the drink is not actually the image that is pulled dynamically from Shopify. This one is. This is the Shopify image for the product. However, the drink in this mug looks exactly like the drink that I chose. And the drink that I chose, by the way, is this hot cacao blend. And so I'm going to bet, I don't know this, but I'm going to bet that the drink that's in the mug is actually dynamic or conditional, and it depends on the products that I have in cart. If it's not, and if it's just a coincidence, then it's actually less cool because then if, for example, they have a lavender blend, which is purple or blue, and then I open this and there's a brown drink, it doesn't resonate with me. I don't recognize this. It feels, wrong. It doesn't work as well. But I bet it is dynamic, and if it is, that's amazing. And this image, you'd probably agree, looks much better than this. And so the fact that they didn't feature the Shopify image, but featured something else that's much more beautiful is also great. And then let's quickly talk about this paragraph text. This is what a lot of brands also get wrong, and they just make it too generic. They write copy that would work for any brand, something like, oh, hey, you forgot this, hurry until your cart expires, something like that. And the reason it doesn't work so well is because it's generic and it would work for any brand. And what we want here is a little bit something that's unique to your brand's voice and tone. And so what this brand writes is, looks like you were on your way to the perfect sip, but got sidetracked. No worries, we're here to help. We've saved all the goods for you. Just click the down pointing emoji and you'll be on your way. So the perfect sip is where this brand is personalizing this, because this wouldn't work for anybody else. The rest is more or less, I don't want to say generic because it's not quite generic, but it would work for anybody else. But also there is a little of some tones and nuances that point to their voice and tone as a brand. And that's great. And I really like this down pointing emoji because again, it's another, we've seen an emoji here and they're just kind of staying consistent with their voice. And then it's also just visually bringing attention to the button, which is also very helpful for conversion. And then, as I said, one thing that I don't think that is that great is this top menu bar. We always at Luck & Co, we say that the brands should kill the menus in their flow emails. And that's because flow emails are triggered by a particular action on the site that represents some step of the customer journey. And so the only point and the only goal of that flow email should be to get the person from the step of the customer journey where they are to the next step. In this case, it's actually the last step, from the step of starting a checkout to the step of completing the checkout. And so a menu always distracts the recipient from the main action, from the main goal of the email. And one thing that kind of makes me want to forgive Bloom for having a menu here is that they're not actually losing any space in the email. At least that's good, because normally the brand would have like a logo at the top and then the menu, but they were smart about this, and they're actually, like even if the menu weren't here, the space would have been still taken by the logo. So at least they're not pushing down the content, like the actual content of the email by the menu. So that's great. But still, all of these links, all of these words that my brain still has to process, even though I'm not actively reading those things, because like visually I realize this is a menu, it might not be relevant to me. But some people, like my brain still kind of like hangs up on that, and then some people start reading that. That's distracting. If you don't believe me, you should go and A/B test this. We have A/B tested this for multiple brands. But here's a catch about the A/B test. The metric that you should be using as the winning criteria that will tell you what's actually performing well is not the click rate. It's the conversion rate or the placed order rate if you're using Klaviyo. And that's because, at least what we've seen in our tests, is that when you have a menu, the click rate does go up. You are giving people more things to click right at the top of the email. However, the conversion rate goes down. And our hypothesis is that it's specifically because we're just distracting the person from the main action that they were supposed to take or that we want them to take. That's my take on email menus, at least in the flow emails. When we're talking about campaigns or one-off emails, the case is slightly different. If you do want to test this for yourself, which I do encourage you to do, make sure that you use the conversion rate as the winning criteria. One last thing that I'm going to say about the top part of this email is when I click the link, it takes me to the checkout page and not the product page, not the PDP, which is great. Sometimes I click it and then it takes me just to like the general website homepage or to the product page. Both of those things are wrong. Everything in your abandoned checkout email should take the person to the checkout, or at least their cart. So that's great. So let's keep scrolling. And this is one of my favorite parts of the email, this logo strip. To understand why it's so great here, you need to understand the customer journey and what happens at that step in the customer journey. And as we've already discussed a little bit, this is the last step of the customer journey where the person has gone to your site, browsed the products, learned about the products, chose which product is right for them, added that product to the cart, and then went to the checkout and filled out the entire first page of the checkout form, and then clicked next. And then when they got to the payment details, that's when they dropped. And what you need to know about this part of the customer journey is that this is very high purchasing intent. The person is practically like almost there. And so they don't have hesitations about the product anymore, typically at this step, because they've already chosen the product. So they don't have hesitations about how the product works, or, things like that. What they do hesitate about is the price, and specifically, is the price worth it? And can I trust this brand? Or can I trust this product? Is this going to work for me? So the two things that you need to overcome, the two hesitations that you need to overcome is trust. And what you need for that is social proof in many different forms. And this is one way to provide social proof. And then the second hesitation you need to overcome is the price. Is this price worth it? And so these logos, the publications that mentioned the Bloom, Dragon's Den, for example, they've participated in Dragon's Den. All of those things help build that social proof. And it's right here, almost above the fold. I feel like if they reduced this space, which by the way, if you're using Klaviyo by default, they add a 50 pixel margin at the top of the email, which is so excessive. So we always reduce that to something like 10 pixels. If they reduce this a little bit and bring the whole email up, you're still not going to see it on a small screen like this, like my laptop. But on my big screen, I would actually see this bar above the scroll, and that would be even better. But the next part of this email is one part that actually does suck. I don't like it. So this is the actual product that I've added to cart, pulled dynamically from Shopify. And the way it looks is like the standard Klaviyo template that they give you, which is a great way to start. However, if you know a little bit of coding and you want learn a little bit about how the Klaviyo dynamic tables work, you can actually make this block look so much better. And I'm going to show you examples of how we treat this block at Luck & Co for our brands in a moment. But there's a lot of room for improvement here. And another huge thing, even if you don't do that, because it's a little bit more complex, on our team, the designers actually do that. Our designers know how to work with the Klaviyo builder like that. But if you don't have anybody on your team who knows how to do that, at least what this needs is another button, especially if I have multiple products in cart, which I don't, but if I did, they would be here kind of one by one. The section would be much longer, and then I don't have a button here anymore to click. If at this point in the email I'm convinced and I want to go and click, if I actually click here, it takes me to that product page and not the checkout. So it's much harder for me to check out from here because I actually started this checkout on another device and I don't even have stuff in cart here. And when I clicked the previous link, remember, it took me to my checkout, even though I don't have stuff in cart on this device. Back to my point, you need a button here. And then moving on, the next section is beautiful. So this is another way that they present social proof, this way in the form of a customer review. And this review is specifically for the product that I have in cart, this hot chocolate blend. And the image also shows the hot chocolate blend with a little mushroom. I don't know if this is reishi. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Probably reishi. Kind of looks like that standard mushroom they sell in the supermarket. But still, beautiful image, short and sweet review specifically about the product that I have in cart. Another data point for me as a consumer, as a shopper, to start trusting this brand more. This is beautiful, amazing. And then the last section of this email is where they present their 30 days risk-free guarantee. 30 days risk-free. The perfect sip promise. Okay, essentially this is just their guarantee telling me, hey, this is really no risk. If you try this, you hate it, we'll give you money back. Again, going back to those two hesitations you need to overcome. Is this product going to work for me? Is it worth it? And can I trust this brand? And this kind of helps with both because if I buy it and then I feel like this wasn't right for me, they give me an easy way out. So really great piece of content. If you have something like that, if you have a form of guarantee, if you have a very flexible kind of customer-centric return policy, it might be a good idea to mention it in some form. You probably don't want to overstress the return policy, but a guarantee is a really great fit here. But then again, my problem with this is that I don't have a button here. In the rest of the email, there's no more buttons that would bring me back to my checkout. And it would really be helpful because at this point, I would argue that a lot of recipients who read this and go through this email, they would be convinced by the bottom of this email because you showed me the product in a beautiful way. I'm inspired by this beautiful mug. I want to have it on my desk in the morning, not desk, my breakfast table in the morning. I trust that it's probably going to be tasty because it looks tasty and people say it's tasty and all these brands covered this brand. So it's not like a new brand that nobody knows about. Other publications trust it. And in the end, if I hate it, I'm going to return it and not lose any money. I'm convinced. Give me the button. And there's no button for me to go back to the checkout. They do have this button for getting in touch here, which opens an email, which is great. But I would love a CTA that brings me back to checkout at this point. Oh, actually, I promised that I would show you this block. How we treat it at Luck & Co. So let me show you. So this is what it looks like when you customize that Klaviyo abandoned product block a little bit. It's on center, it's big. The pricing and the link to the product are below the product. So we really make this product image the hero image of this email. And then this is what it would look like when there are two products in cart. So we actually customize it. So instead of stacking it, having one by one and then really pushing down the button, what we do is we show them next to each other. The possibilities are actually not endless, but there are possibilities to make that the Shopify dynamic product block in the abandoned checkout email in Klaviyo look much, much better. But actually going back to the Bloom email, one thing that is great about this block for them is that, look, if we actually go back to my checkout, you'll see that there are 2 products in my cart. This hot cacao blend, but also this package protection, which a lot of Shopify brands have these days. And unless you customize your email in Klaviyo, what's gonna happen is it's actually going to show up in my email with that very generic icon. And it's usually a very bad experience because as a consumer, even if I have it in my cart, I actually don't wanna see it in my email. It makes the email look clunky and just like not polished. And looks like Bloom did customize that and they're not showing that part of the cart in my email, which is great. So that's great, even though this block doesn't look great and it is missing a button, the fact that it doesn't have that other item in cart is actually good. And this actually wraps up our deep dive into the anatomy of an abandoned checkout email. I do have a long tutorial for how to build your own abandoned checkout flow in Klaviyo. So when you're ready for that step, go check out that video. It's linked on the screen. And if you like this format, I have another video like this that is about the anatomy of the welcome email, and that's linked on the screen as well. Let me know in the comments if there's another type of email you'd like me to analyze or any specific strategies that you want to learn more about. And thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this and you want more tips on email marketing, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button for the channel. And when you do both of those things, then I will see you in the next one.